the screen that you're looking at is now going to be a combined public portal / e-file website. The website is at the top, the USVI public portal. It's not going to have UAT in between there, so it'll be USVI public portal.vicourts.org. That will be supplied in emails to come, and before our go live, we are going to provide you with that information so that you know where you're going on the website. But I'm just showing you for the most part that it is USVI public portal.vicourts.org. The previous login or the previous website that you went to was e-file. It had something about e-file in the wording. So this is now going to be a combined public portal / e-filing. This is going to serve two purposes. So a public user could come on to our website and just search for cases. As a public user, they don't have to log in. They don't have to register to use the system or the website. However, for the purpose of everyone that's on this training or this demonstration, you will be asked to register and log in. So I know this is going to be painstaking for most of you, but unfortunately, you will have to register again for this C-Track public portal website, because although your profile will remain and it is not going to be hampered or anything from our current system, but this, because it's a combination, you must register to use the e-file public portal. So in the future, we will only be using the term C-Track public portal. Although we know that you can e-file in this portal, that's just the name of it, as you can see on the home screen. So for public users, it wouldn't require anything. Anybody could go in and more or less just search. If they want to search for a case, a party, anything that they want to search for, they could search for. But if you require specific access to a case, or you want to see more things that are not available on the basic public website, then yes, you have to register and you have to then log in. So this is just how the screen is going to look. The tiles that's on here, these are going to be probably a little more. Just a FYI, we are scheduled to go live in November. And what does go live mean? Go live means that we're going to take our current system and they're going to more or less merge everything that's upgraded, and they're going to put it into a new version of the system. November 8th, we're going to be shutting down. You probably will get some emails and some notifications that says on November 8th we may be shutting down. Usually we try to do the stuff after 5, but if the vendor requires us to ask for a shutdown earlier, then that's what we would have to do. But the shutdown is necessary for them to migrate everything into the new system. And it's not a new system, we're calling it an upgrade, but it is basically going to be new because it's going to have new functionality. So on November 8th, that is going to be a shutdown day for us. And then November 9th, 10th, 11th, the court staff is going to be working to try to get the system tested and make sure we iron out any kinks so that the users could officially start using the system on the 12th. Now, in this morning's session, a question was asked if it is going to be for sure the 12th, if the vendor allows us to have you start registering and going into the system before November 12th, we will send an email through that e-file email that is blasted out to everyone that's a user. So it is going to be important from today going forward that you make sure you're checking those e-file emails, because that's the only way we could do an email blast, like as far as a vast amount of users getting the same information. So your e-file email, that email address would be where we send the information from, to tell you, hey, yes, you could go ahead and start. Maybe if we're lucky, you could probably go in on the 11th, but we can't say that until, you know, we get the product from the vendor and we start testing and everything is green lighted, and then we go from there. But just as a FYI, that is a holiday weekend. But the court staff will be working to try to get the system up and running by the 12th. What's usual is that if you don't have access to e-file, we usually allow the opportunity for you to file your documents conventionally or through an email that we had designated during the COVID time. We designated the Superior Court e-file at vicourts.org, and all of that information, like I said, will be supplied to you maybe the week before go live or within that same week. So the week of like the 4th, 5th, 6th, you may be getting some information on what's next or what you're supposed to do. But if the e-file and the public portal is not available, we will send something for you to use the email, or you could, you know, do the hand delivery to the court, and then we're going to allow maybe for that week the use of those methods until we know for sure that everybody is able to get onto the public portal. So that's just a little housekeeping, a little FYI, just so everyone knows the timelines. This training is the responsibility of the court, so that's why we're conducting the training or the demonstration. For today and tomorrow, if you know of somebody that has not joined or does not know about the demonstration, please pass the word on. We did send it out to all the users, but some people seem to have missed that email, and I tried to send it out yesterday to my frequent flyer filers, but please share it with any other law firm or another support staff person that you know so that they could attend the sessions tomorrow. So today we had a session at 10 this morning, and then we're now in the 3 o'clock session. Tomorrow it's the same, 10 o'clock in the morning, and then 3 in the afternoon. The sessions are repeated, so although it's named session 1, 2, 3, 4, it is repeated. So if you join one, that's it, it's satisfied. You don't have to join any other. But it is crucial for everybody to get a view of what's to come. We are recording the sessions, and as we did in our first implementation, we are going to try to provide the have the videos available on the Judicial Branch YouTube channel. And if it's not on that channel and we have to put it somewhere else and give you access to it, that's what we're going to do. But once the sessions are completed today and tomorrow, we clean up the videos, those would be available, and then your staff or yourself could just go back, listen, you know, go through the steps on your own. You don't have access to our test site. We did have a subset of attorneys and their staff. Maybe in August, we asked a few people to help us test the public portal, and we did get some feedback, and a lot of whatever was given as feedback or that needed to be fixed, we did make those fixes during our what we call hot fix phases. But you are not going to be able to test on the system, unfortunately, before you actually have to do it in our live environment. But what would be helpful for you is if you go back to the videos, whenever we put them up, I will send something again. It'll be an email blast that lets you know that the videos are available for viewing, and you could go into whatever that repository will be. Hopefully it's YouTube, and you could go and watch those videos to kind of give you a little, you know, head start on what you're going to need to do. So just to highlight what's different. One, yes, you have to register. So I know everybody's going to send us e-file help desk emails saying, Ms. Charles, IT, we have already registered for the system. Do we need to do it over? Why do I need to do it over? That is beyond our control. We've tried to see if you don't have to do this step, but we do, even us as the clerk staff, court staff, period, even IT, we had to re-register in public portal. So yes, all attorneys, all your legal org admins, all your support staff, your secretaries, whatever tags, you know, the titles that you have in your office, everyone has to register as a user. That's the key to the public portal access. The layout is different. It is a little different. The layout for the public is just a basic screen. When we get into logging in and registering, you're going to see that some of these items change, and then our tiles will look a little different. The announcement tile going forward, just know that the court will be using this a lot to make announcements, so don't skip over it when you start using the system. Just make sure, and you will probably see a number here, like when you are using the system, you may see a number that tells you there's a notification for a new announcement. But the announcement tile, we're going to try to use that as much as we can to make any announcements related to the court. So yes, our website will still be available, and you may still get to see some of the public release stuff on the website, but we will be making announcements here. So with that said, and because we're keeping questions until the end, I am going to jump into the steps that you're going to take to register as a user. So we're going to do twofold. We're going to try to show you how you register as an attorney, and then how your legal org admin is going to register, because the key to this is going to be your legal org administrator or your manager or your office manager, whatever title that person is in your office. That person is going to be crucial in creating your legal organization or your firm within the public portal website. So if that person is on, or they are not, going to be available and can't see the trainings, it is going to be important before November 8th that they get on and at least understand what they will need to do, because it is not going to be on the court. It is the firm that needs to set up your firm in the public portal system or website, and then you start making your use and your filings and all of that. So I am going to show you two main users, which is an attorney as a user, and then your legal org admin. Anybody that is support staff, or just, somebody in your office as a secretary and they're just using the system, I'll show you how your legal org admin is going to pull that person into the firm, so to speak. So, and if you see any pop-ups on my screen, we've been at this and kind of testing and doing stuff for a while now. So I am gonna try to register new as a new person, as a new attorney in the system, and then we'll do the legal org person. So we're gonna use that register button. Because I'm already logged in, as of course I'm testing different ways, I'm gonna do sign up now. So I'm not signing in, so you can't use your old login. You gotta sign up now. This is a new registration for public portal. Let me get my phone here, all right, so I'm gonna use a email address that we've been kind of using here. The attorney training 1. All right, so this is my email address. Yes, it's long because it's a test email. So this is my email address that I want to sign up with for the system. It is going to send me a verification code. For the first time, it's going to send me a verification code to this email address. So I'm going to say send verification code. And a lot of the steps, just remember that I'm doing dual role, meaning I am doing it as if I'm a clerk, as well as I'm doing it as the public user or the attorney user. So I got the code in my email. I'm going to enter the code. And then I'm going to now put in my password that I'm going to use. And I'm going to name myself Attorney Tester. I think I have this name already. Let's see. So we could save that. This is probably going to be something that we got from tests, is that, a lot of the firms don't want to use, the person in the firm does not feel like they need to use their phone number to authenticate, unless your firm or your office has some type of shared phone number or something that you're gonna set up where the authentication codes come into one phone number or something. Then this is the only way that you could multi-factor authenticate. We must have multi-factor authentication. This is something built in the system. This wasn't asked for by the court. This is something that the vendor, we can't get around. We can't not do the authentication. So you may have to come up with a creative way to not send it to somebody's personal cell phone number, but this is the only way that we could log in for now with multi-factor authentication. And I'll show you later on that you don't necessarily have to do it each time. Once you are set up and authenticated, you should be fine until you officially like either sign out of your computer or something like that. If you're logged in and you even put your computer to sleep, it should not like ask you, because you're not like officially logged out. Once you're in, you're in. But there may be times that you will have to authenticate, and that is the only way. Absent the first time that you do it by email, the only additional way is with a cell phone number. Even as court staff, myself, if I gotta go in as clerk of court, I gotta authenticate. So we are on attorney record. If you notice, some extra options became available, and that option is my work queue, as well as another queue that says create. So in those options, because I'm now like going to be registered, those are now available to me, and these are not available to a public user. So I'm going to choose my attorney type. So I am an attorney, and I am going to choose my type as attorney. You'll fill in your information. This is crucial. You must enter your bar ID number. So if you have a bar ID number issued to you from bar admissions, you must enter your bar ID number, because as you can see with the asterisk, this is a required field. So you must enter your bar ID number, and then the reference file is also required. So what we're going to do is set up a form. Similar to those of you who were with us in our initial implementation, we had what was called a legal org admin form, something where your legal org had to submit. But we are going to create that or revise that to be a user access form. And that form, we will try to tweak it, because this morning someone asked if you guys could get it before November 8th. Yes, we're going to try to get that to you before the go live, but you're not going to submit it. So although we're giving it to you to kind of look at and fill out, you will be uploading your reference file as the whatever form it's going to be named. So let's say that form is named user access form. That's what you'll upload, and it is required. So you're going to have to, the form is going to be pretty simple. It's going to include your law firm, maybe your primary attorney, bar ID number. If it's multiple attorneys, then we may have to come up with, if you're just going to use one primary attorney. If there are multiple primaries, then we may just ask you to add a number, just so that the support staff could kind of get into the legal org. But if you are an attorney, the attorney themselves, you must put in your designated bar ID number, and then your reference file would be that form that we're referencing that is going to be shared with you guys before November 8th. So I am going to submit a request to the court so that I could be registered as a user. This request is going to come in to the clerk staff. And then while you're waiting, this is how your screen is going to look. You're logged in still. You should pay very special attention to every option that's listed here under your profile. So your user login account, it tells you your username, your email address, your password. If you had to edit anything here, this is where you would do it. If you had to change your password, this is where you would do that. your name as it would appear on anything that you file. This is how it's going to look. If I said, no, I didn't want tester, but I want testing, then I would, change that and save it. This preference is really just if you want to do a default court. So if you are only an attorney that files in Superior Court or only at Supreme Court, then you could choose your default court. It is not required. Anything with an asterisk will be required. If it's not without an asterisk, it means you can leave it blank. So you don't necessarily have to choose that. So just as you're waiting, like I said, for the court to pull you in and for you to be approved, you want to go through all of these areas just to be sure that you have anything filled out. Your payment method, I'm going to discuss that when we're doing the LOA, the legal org admin registration, just so that you could see how seamless this could be for your firm as a whole. If you're attorney that is, private practice, it's only you in your office and you don't have to worry about support staff and legal org and all of that, then you will wear all of those hats. You would be your own administrator and your own support staff. So you don't really have to worry about like creating your legal org internally. But you should add a payment method if you want, so that all of your filings going forward would have a default payment type. There's no longer that add to cart and then you got to go check out. That's no longer in this version of the product. So calendar subscriptions, unfortunately, we're not going to have this ready for this upgrade. We are going to have it available to us sometime early next year. But when it is going to be available, we will maybe do like a little video and show you how to use it, or we'll just provide you with some instructions. But the goal behind of this is to make sure that you could subscribe to the calendars that's going to be in your hearings tab. And then you could actually see it on your, if you have Gmail or Outlook or something like that, it actually could import into that email provider. So for now, we're just going to skip this, but I just wanted to tell you the intent behind of this, but it is not going to be working for this upgrade as we go live in November. Yes. This is very important. Is somebody talking?
Driving everybody crazy and it's just wasting time. She doesn't know what she's doing. Okay.
All right, so this is going to be very important. We're going to ask, as you're waiting for the court to approve you in, if you do nothing else, if you don't go to any of these other options here, please go first to your notification preferences. And this is important because this is how you're going to get notified by the application of something that's either you're waiting for approval, or your case access was accepted, rejected. You're notified on your approvals, on your rejections. So my suggestion would be, although email is defaulted, which means that if I do something in the system, I'll get an email approval. I don't know that that's the best use of the application. I think everyone should just select everything on their application so that you cover everything that you would get from the court. Now, if you start to use the application notifications and realize, well, because I know a lot of you asked in the beginning not to get a received notification, meaning that you submitted something, then it was received by the court, then it was approved. If you don't want to get that, then you could deselect receive notification. But I believe, and that's just us as we were playing around in this new version, I think that you should try to do everything. And then maybe as you go along, the first month goes by and you get sick of us with the receive notifications, then you could come in and deselect it. But for the most part, I think you should just save it as is so that you get all notifications through the application. And application means through the system, and then email means through your general email address, whatever that email address is. So your user access is telling you what access you have right now. So because we're still waiting for attorney tester to be approved by the court, I'm just a public user right now. I can't do anything else except what the public could do. And I could also had made that request if I went here to user access and I didn't do it at the time that I was fixing my profile. If I forgot, I could come to this user access option and I could say request attorney access. And of course, I could do that multiple ways, either through my profile or through this button. But because I already did it, it's going to give me a message that says you already asked for access. So like I said, I'm going to repeat for those who just joined. If you do nothing else when you first register, please update your notification preferences. That is going to be crucial, because if we look at stuff and then you start, advising the court or the judge that I didn't receive something, I didn't know where to look, it's because your application notifications are off and it needs to be on. So this version is pretty user friendly. It kind of spells out everything for you. So I am going to switch to my user link request queue, which is the clerk side. This is what the clerks will be seeing as we are flooded with your user requests in the week of November 11th. This is where we're going to be going. This is what we're going to be looking for to make sure that a request did come in. So this is what the clerk will do on our end. We're just going to accept the attorney. Just a FYI, because I had this question this morning, your profile, because your bar ID number is going to be used as your user link request primary number, we are going to try to find you in the system. In our current system, we're going to try to find your same profile so that you don't lose like your case history and your filing history and all of that. We are going to try to just link you to the same bar ID number. So our people or the staff that's going to be kind of doing this process, it may be myself, it may be some of my clerk management staff members, IT. So we are going to try to make sure that we are merging you to the correct attorney. But for test reasons, I am going to add myself as a new attorney, and then we're going to just link that index entry. But if it was not a new attorney and it's you who's had filings with the court already, you will not lose anything that you had before. We will just go in and merge you. But for somebody new, a question this morning was also if you're on special admissions and your application is pending. We will go through that with bar admissions office, because hopefully by November 8th, if we have anybody pending, we may have to kind of use like a default fake number or something. We're gonna have to iron that out. But for the most part, everybody that's barred, and if you have a bar ID number and I link you to your profile that's in our current system, you should be fine. For anybody that's new, or if it's like I said, a special admission pending, we're gonna have to deal with those on a one-off instance. So I, as the clerk, I'm gonna accept this attorney who's asking to be brought into the legal org. And then my attorney is going to get a notification that says your user request was accepted. So this is why it was important to update my profile and get my notifications through the application so that I could see when anything is happening on the court side. So now that my user request is approved, then I could start doing, my work. I could start going in, creating my filings. I could check my work history. I need to find out what we're going to do as far as how much of your filings or your cases would be listed here. I need to just verify that information. But for the most part, if you are a current user and we bring you over into this system using your bar ID number that is in our current system, then yes, everything should be appearing in these drop downs. So this is going to be crucial for you to be looking at all the time. Your filings tab, you're going to have a My Cases tab. Any hearings that are related to any cases that you're on is going to be here in this My Hearings tab. You're also going to have a My E-Service received, and this I could tell you, we tested it and it works. So we do have, I know, one of the pet peeves or one of the things that were an issue in our first go around in the implementation was that the attorneys had issues with receiving orders timely, receiving orders at all. And then the court side, we had difficulty in trying to figure out if that attorney did receive an order or not. So on the court side, we do have a way now to check that we've sent that distribution to the attorney. And once it is sent, we have a way to actually look at when it was sent, what time it was sent, by which user it was sent, and then when you receive your e-service, because there's also an option for us to do public portal service. And once the clerks select that, which is going to be our default, if the public portal service is done, you will get an e-service received notification. So you will see all of your e-service here. Even if it is somebody else serving you, so your opposing counsel is serving you, you're going to see it here. If it's a court sending you something, you're going to see it in this queue. So it is going to be important that you check all your queues to make sure that you're not missing anything. I could tell you that once you open whatever is here, so if there was a filing that was here and you open it, we could see it on the court side. I could see when that notification was read. So if you're going to have support staff filing on your behalf or your legal org filing on your behalf, please note that when they log in, they are appearing on behalf of you, or filing on behalf of, not appearing, sorry. They are filing on behalf of you and accessing the system on behalf of you. So if your e-service was read and it wasn't you as the attorney that read it, you may want to start, implementing some measures in your office that says if one of your staff members open an order or whatever, that, they share it with you, or if you're not on the system all the time, you need to put some measures in place, because on the court end, we will see that the document was read, and it actually tells us date and time that the document was open. And that's what it says on our end, actually open. If you read it or not, we won't know, but we have some measures now that, more or less takes care of all of that concerns that we had before. So e-service received, that's going to be very crucial. Your receipts for anything that you paid for will show up under your My Receipts tab. And then anything that you need to file, you're going to choose the new filing. Even though it says new filing, that doesn't mean a new filing. That just means that you want to file something, and then you'll do the same thing. The e-filing portion of it is not different. It's just the walkthrough of it is a little different. So you do have some screens. You choose the same, the court that you want to choose. It allows you to do the create a new case or file existing case. If you file an existing case, you have to do the same thing and put the case number in, and it should allow you to file on the case. We do have some options now. We have a guided entry or manual entry. The guided entry will be something that the court configures with the vendor, so that you kind of have, and it's probably going to be more helpful for a pro se user, for you to, walk along and show you why you need this or why you don't need that. But if your staff is proficient in the system and you think you could walk through and do it on your own because you've used it before, then your manual entry is probably your best bet. And then these drop downs, as soon as you start typing the word, all the category that you're looking for should come up, and then you just kind of scroll down, or you could do your dash and then start, or you could even type in summary judgment, and then it should give you the available option. One key thing is that when you start in November, because our configuration is so much that we gotta try to put everything over into the new version, we ask that if you start using the system and you notice something missing, please send us an email, either an e-file help desk. I know a lot of you, even though we tell you to use e-file help desk, you just automatically send it to me. That's not a problem, because the more we could iron out in the beginning, it's fine. But we would ask for you to report that back to us so that we know, hey, Tamara, in the old system, motion for summary judgment was there, but I don't see that option now. We would want you to report that so that we could get that configured on the back end. So I'm filing a motion. A lot of the wording is critical. Like, I think you should read it at least for the first couple times that you're using the system, so you could see what these, what it says, because it does have content in there to help you. So now it's telling me I want to file a motion for summary judgment on this case. This is the case title, and then I want to create my filing. So this next step, because it's an existing case, and I know we're gonna have a lot of people getting kind of messed up with this. Actually, I'm gonna put a note to ask them to configure this to be grayed if it is an existing case. So if this is an existing case, you do not have to add the parties because it is existing. So it tells you that if the parties you are filing on behalf of are already associated with this case, please skip the step. It should only be used if you're adding new parties. But of course, we know that you don't necessarily do that in an existing case. But if you are filing, an intervening complaint, or you're filing a third party, stuff like that may be the one-offs that you're gonna add the party. But if you are not, and it's just a regular filing, just skip the step. If it's a new, if it is in an existing case. If it is in a new case, the steps in the beginning would have showed you to add the party because it's a new case. So it like I said, it's pretty easy. You're just walking through the steps as to what you want to file. And this is where we go with the docket entries. This is usually unchecked, the exclude from service that we also have in our current system, because everybody that is on the case, you should, automatically try to serve them with the pleading from the portal. But if it's something where, you attorneys know, if it's something where it's only for the judges to see, if it's something, that needs to be sealed and the opposing party doesn't need to see it, then yes, you could exclude from service. But for the general filing, you always leave that unchecked, and then you could add your files as you need to. So it's the same steps more or less. And then we don't have, although this says finish, you could say finish, and then still there's an option to add additional docket entries. So don't let finish make you feel like, oh, I'm finished, I don't need to add my proposed order and my exhibit. You could still do that here. The change in lingual is add docket entry is now equivalent to add associated filing. So in the current system, you got to do add associated filing. In this one, you're just adding docket entry. As you can see, the filing fees, there's no filing fee for this specific type of document, but if there were a filing fee, then it would, my subsequent screens would be a little different. But because there's no filing fee, then I just could add an additional docket entry right from that screen. I don't need to come out. I'll add my proposed order. I'll type in the first couple letters, and it automatically comes up. I could add something here as a Word document as well. It shouldn't hinder you from doing that. The finish is just, I'm finished with that specific docket entry. And then I could add an exhibit if I wanted to, right in this same filing. So I don't need to go all the way out and come back in. So now that we have our motion, our proposed order, our exhibit, then I could continue. If I click continue and I want to go back because I missed something, you could always use these parameters at the top. You could use that to kind of take you back in place. You don't have to continue and then say, oops, I forgot to do the proposed order. You could just go back to the docket entry tab and add that proposed order. As long as you've not officially submitted it yet, you could go in any portion of this filing. So I'll say continue. I want to enter my service details. So if there's, maybe 2 attorneys already on this case, I'm going to select, you have to select the people that you're going to serve. It's not going to be oh, I saw the name, so I didn't select it and I thought they were served. No, you got to select it. And then you got to set the service as public portal. That's going to be the default, I think. Um, for the most part, you should choose public portal e-service so that that attorney who is a registered user and who is going to be waiting for e-service received in on their login, you got to choose public portal e-service. There are some other options, conventional email not served through a process server, but for the most part, I think user to user, you should be using public portal e-service. And that also gives you a way to manage on your end. You'll be able to see or be able to prove to the court, yes, I did serve them this way or that way if you use this option. If you use conventional, let's say it is for a pro se party and you use conventional, then at least it'll be noted. But the service portion is going to be easier to prove if you do it through public portal e-service. So now that I've done that, this is my summary of what I'm filing. This is my filing. This is all that I'm filing. I could use this again as a way to kind of just revisit. Did I actually upload the specific motion? Did I upload the correct version? All of that, I could do that right here. And then I could check the ways that I'm serving these other attorneys. And then I'm going to submit my filing. So once my filing is submitted, it gives me again another little summary telling me this is what's happening. I submitted it this time. I could go to the status history or I could go to my filings and it'll show me that I filed this specific filing. It was received. It's in a received status. You are going to see in all of the options that you have on the left, you're going to see filters. So if I only want to see in my filings, I only want to see the things that are, with a specific status, or I want to see only my motions. These are going to be configured by the court. But for the most part, if you want to filter your screens, because in a few months your tabs are going to become very it's going to be very full. So you may want to take advantage of the filter and sort options. And like I said, it is on every tab. So if you wanted to filter your hearings, filter your e-service based on a specific month, you could do that. Like it's all going to be filterable. So now that we got a notification that says the submission for attorney tester was actually submitted and then it was actually received, and then you should get one once it was approved by the court. So these are your notifications. Again, your notifications are going to become a lot. So you could filter as well. If you want to just see specific things, you could filter that. If you want to only see, filter it to only this specific case number just to see if something was filed, then you could do that, update it, and then it'll refresh your notifications queue. So that is an attorney filing. The attorney filed something on his or her own, and then they're doing the exchange back and forth with the court. So we are going to log out. And if this was an attorney, you're just you don't need to log out and you're just going to do something else and come back to the system. You don't need to log out. But if you log out, then yes, you will get that multi-factor authentication required again. So we're going to log out. And then we are going to register as a LOA, as a legal org admin. And I'm only doing the legal org admin so that those who are office managers or, those that are going to help with setting up your legal org users in the system so that you could get an idea of exactly what you need to do to get everybody started. But everybody still has to register as a user on their own. So we're going to register now as a legal org. Thing. This testing has had us going crazy for a bit, but All right, so we're signing up as LOA. Just my email. All right, so I verified with my email and I am going to do the same steps as I did for the attorney, create my password and set my name. All right, so basically we just repeated the steps that the attorney did. And then you're doing it the same for your legal org. You're gonna do the same if you're a regular user and you're not legal org, is the same thing. You're just gonna do the registration. You're not gonna choose one of these. If I am just the support staff, I'm just the secretary, I'm not doing anything else in the organization that requires me to do administrative, work within the system, then I will just go ahead and leave it as is. I'm not going to choose a user type. So I don't have to use a user type if I am just a support staff, not doing any type of administrative things. I could skip the step basically. But because I am going to do organization administrator, I want to make that tag, make sure I distinct in the system that I want to be a organization admin for this specific organization. So this is very important just for um, everyone. The organizations, and I think a few of you may have been victim to this, where let's say your organization was one thing when we had our legacy system enact, and then when we became merged with Supreme Court and you had to re-register, your organization name was something else, and then now in this system your organization name is something else. So if you know that you've had different versions of your organization name, before you do this and you associate yourself to the wrong organization, I urge you to please just, either double check your current legal org setup. That may be a good idea for you to like maybe print off what is on that screen just so you make sure everybody is signed up. And as a user, make sure that you are associating yourself to the right legal org. I want to use a firm here as an example. So in this example, we have where this firm may have been two different things before. And if you don't associate to the right legal org, you're kind of gonna, not see anything that you are related to from our current system. So please make sure if you are not sure and you don't know where to look, you don't know what you're looking for, you could look at your current legal org setup, and all your legal organization administrators or the attorney should know where to find that on the current e-file login page. If you don't know and you're not sure where to look at all, then just call the bar admissions office and ask them, hey, make sure this is my legal org that is current and active, because a lot of the ones that you may have had before is probably not active, and then you'll kind of not be using your current profile. So I am gonna associate this legal org to this legal organization. And then the reference file would be the same thing. They're just going to upload that same form that we're going to be requesting that everybody use. And then I've now submitted my request to the court. And my first thing would be to go to my preferences and save that. And then I could always come back and like check all through everything else once I'm approved. But the user access button initially tells me that I am only a public user right now. I am nothing. I'm not a LOA. I'm not a user for a legal org or anything. I'm just a public user until I could be brought in from the court side. So um, this is what we're gonna do to link and this portion I'm just doing as on the demo side, I'm just choosing like a new person. But if this legal org was going to be a part of a current firm, then we will associate the legal, that user to whatever firm it is. But for now, I'm just going to say that I'm adding this person as a new person. So we're gonna have our measures to kind of make sure we're adding you to the right place. And hopefully you'll make the request to be added to the right place. So this is your notification. You just got a notification that your user request was accepted. We mark that as read. So whoop-de-doo, we're good. We know now that we have that ability to be a legal org admin. However, nothing changed. So what you should do and what you must do to adopt your changes after you've been accepted is that you have to log out. Unfortunately, you have to log out just for the changes to be adopted. So that's just, and like I said, this is only going to be for your first go around. You're not going to need to do this each time. This is only when you're first registering, first getting everything set up. So it may be a little tedious when you're first logging in after we go live, but after that and all your users are in, you should be good to go. So I am going to log in as the legal org admin, and now this appears. So this is going to be your key to make sure that I am logged in the right way. I am going to get to see my manage organization tab. And another way to check that would be to go to your profile and say user access. And now you could see that you're granted access as an organization administrator as well as a public user. So you have different ways to check it to see in the event you missed that email from the court or you missed the notification. You could just go to profile, check your user access, how many access options do I have? And then you also should always have a manage organization tab. So this is your manage organization tab. The manager, the attorney, whomever is going to be managing this portion for your firm, you must click on this. You must make sure that you're seeing all your users. If you have users, they are going to show up in this listing. If somebody comes to you, I know we're going to get calls that says, I registered to be a user. I didn't see an email. I didn't see the notification. I didn't see anything. But the legal org, before you make the call to the court or to the e-file help desk, you could check your users listed, and you could also just make sure the user have something that says you were accepted as a user in the C-Track system. So if you're listed here, then yes, the user is ready. The user is now part of that legal organization, and then all users must be added. So if the legal org was doing it correctly for the first time, you would only see yourself, and then you're going to have to add all of your attorneys, all of your staff, so that you have a full list of everybody that is in your legal organization. So firms like or agencies like the AG's office, public defender's office, the firms that are larger in size where you have multiple attorneys, this list is going to look very long because you got to have all your users and the attorneys added. It can't just be the user but no attorneys. Everybody has to be added. So if I were to add, a new user, somebody came into the office today, they just registered, I have to do add this. Don't get confused with the language, because add support staff may be your automatic reflex. You may think, oh, I got to add a support staff, but no, you should make sure you add all your users first. That would be our recommendation. Add your users. So I'm just going to kind of add myself here to this legal org. I'm already added. I'm gonna add my chief deputy. Oh, maybe Mr. Thompson, I'll add you. So I'm adding this user. Mr. Thompson, you register?
Too much going on.
Let me see if I add one of my emails that I have not used yet. My test emails. Let's see. Okay. So as you can see, I'm getting these messages because it's telling me that either one, there's nobody registered as a user with this specific email address, or the person is already registered, but they are associated to like another firm. And that kind of happens sometimes when people switch firms or switch going to some place and they don't have, let me see if she is registered. All right, so we're gonna skip that step, but I think everybody gets that you have to add your user. So you have to know the email address that the user used. You have to know, specific email address, not what they thought they used or what they had in the current system. What are they using right now? What did you register for C-Track Public Portal? So you're gonna add all your users. This will become a long list. Your attorneys, my suggestion would be that you select your attorney. So whatever attorney is on your screen, you should select your attorney, and then you could add your support staff to that attorney. So if my legal org administrator, which is the person I just added, if that person needs to file on behalf of attorney tester. So let me go back. So this is the attorney's name, attorney tester, but I want to put the support staff to be able to file under that attorney, then I must select the attorney, not the support staff. So the attorney is selected. I say I'm gonna add this person as a support staff, and I'm gonna save. So now if I had to log in as legal org admin, let's say I logged out and I was doing something, and when I'm finished, because I was added as a support staff for attorney tester, I could now get that option. And I may have to log out. Okay, so now my option changed. So instead of just profile and log out, I could now file on behalf of, and then I could choose the attorney. And this list could be 4 attorneys. I know like agencies like the AG's office and public defender, the litigation specialist, they file on behalf of specific attorneys, and it could be multiple people, and that's fine. It's just that they would have to choose the specific attorney, just like in the system, you choose a specific attorney that you're filing on behalf of. So now that my legal org administrator could file on behalf of attorney tester, I'm going to save that information, and then you'll see that it gives you a message. You are now working on behalf of another user. So it's for a reason. It's telling you like, hey, wave of the hand, you did something different. And now you could see my login appears a little different as well. It says LA as attorney tester. So attorneys, the LA is now filing on your behalf. So whatever is filed, whatever is showing up for the attorney tester, now the support staff could see it. I know this was a big prevention in the previous system. We couldn't allow you to see what the attorney had, and you couldn't see his or her emails. It was very just inconvenient, but now it is convenient enough that once you're logged in on that attorney's behalf, you could see the attorney filings, you could see the attorney cases, you could see the attorney upcoming hearings, you could see the e-service that the attorney got the receipt. So you're going to be in here as if you're the attorney. So again, I would urge the attorneys and your firms and your agencies to set up whatever parameters or whatever measures you want to take to make sure that all of the users in your firm knows what they're doing and why they're doing it. You got to set that up. We're not going to control that. But if I'm logged in on behalf of the attorney, yes, I should be able to now. We've tested it, so I could tell you it was a hallelujah moment for us as well, where we could now let you guys see the attorney filings, cases, and all of that. If you search in that same capacity, you should be able to see the attorney cases. You're going to see the notifications. If the e-service is read by me, who is the legal org administrator, it will show that it was read. So the court side is not concerned that it wasn't attorney tester, him or herself, that didn't, that opened this document, but it shows on the court's end as attorney tester read the document that was sent this day, this time, and then that is our proof. And it's the same as the e-service. If you serve opposing counsel, it would show up the same way. So I just want you guys to be mindful that the on behalf of is good, and you want to make sure, yes, everybody could see everything, but you also want to put whatever measures in place on your own. So I wanted to also go in my profile as the legal org admin, I want to add a default payment method. Let's do, I'm going to log out and I'm going to sign back in as the attorney just so you guys could see that I could add a default payment method, and every time that I file, or my firm or somebody on behalf of me file something, it will automatically take from that card. That the transaction is going to be from that card that is on file or that is saved. So if you wanted to add a default payment method, you could do that for the legal org or for that attorney. I'm not sure if you're going to have to do it per attorney, but if you wanted to do that, it would be in this section that says okay, so now I have a payment method saved. So anything that I file, if it were to be a new filing, once I got to the end of that filing and it, said, okay, this filing is $75, it is going to take already from that default card. Because you're telling the system that that's where you want all your transactions to be taken from. So just to show you this real quick. So the add to cart, or the option for you to I'm just gonna go through the screen just to show you on the financial end how that's gonna look. So the options here aren't really, they haven't changed much. The screens look a little different, but the options is more or less the same process. You're not doing anything too different. So the docket entries are now still being configured. So that is one of the things too, that if you notice that, something didn't populate, and it usually did that on the internal end, this is actually being configured right now. I just remembered the vendor is trying to populate all of our filing fees into the public portal so that we have everything in here. But if this were $75, which it is, and you had to go to the end of the submission filing, you would not see a screen to enter like credit card information, because you already have a default credit card saved on your profile. So just be mindful that if you don't want to do that, you don't want to save a default and you want to have to enter it each time, then you could do that. But if you have a save method, just know that everybody who's filing, either on behalf of the firm, on behalf of that filer, you are going to be pulling from that card that's on file. So that's just, it's something, a lot of our testers, when they did test, some of the testers like that. They said that that was much easier. If you are an attorney where it's only you in your firm and you think you're going to need help with us assisting you with setting this up, and not the court doing it, because I'll tell you it's not the court responsibility, but we would prefer that you be set up correctly in the beginning than have issues where you can't see your cases, you can't see your filings and stuff like that. We want to make sure that if you don't have a legal org admin, you don't have a secretary, it's only you and you're serving in all those capacities. I personally don't mind getting you help to set up so that we could at least just do this little framework with you as you're going through it on your computer, because it won't be the court that's doing it. You'll be still walking through it on your computer. But if you need to get set up, we could do, a little Teams or something come that week. But just know that that week of November 11th is going to be where the court is going to try to make sure everything is in the system for your use. So it is going to be a little hectic. But that's primarily it. If you have questions, this would be the time you could ask those questions. We are going to try, like I said, to put this, for those who join a little later, we are going to try to put the video on our Judicial Branch YouTube channel, which is what we did in our first implementation. So if you missed it, or if you can't join again tomorrow at 10 or tomorrow at 3, then you could use those videos. And I would urge that. I would urge everyone to um, look at the videos before November 8th through the 11th, so that you have an idea of what you need to do. And another suggestion would be to look at your current legal org, maybe do a little screenshot of it so that you have that to use as your reference point when you're setting up your legal org in the system. So I am going to stop sharing, and then let me see if I have any questions. All right. Does this session does this session have sound? Okay. Was it Did my sound go out? I know it was going out in and out in the beginning, but for the most part,
I got the sound, thank you.
okay. Okay, you're welcome, Attorney Dudley. So any questions? Um anything that anybody has to have us look at before we start in November? I think the support staff, just a niche here. I think the support staff is going to be really happy with this version of the system, because this is where you get to see or get to really interact and do all the work that you need to do on behalf of the attorney. You could see all of the filings, the hearings, so you don't necessarily have to create that additional email address or that generic email address that we had asked you to do in the beginning. Some of you may have done that, and you want to probably still keep that, so that when your calendar subscriptions come into play next year, when we have that version, that functionality, you may want to have that additional email and all of that stuff. But for the most part, once your support staff is logged in correctly, then yes, you will be able to see all of the attorney's filings. And we've tested it, we've seen it. Our next great thing that we see out of this version is that we are now going to be able to serve the orders and be able to have proof on our end that it was served because of the public portal e-service. That's going to be a major thing that we both ourselves, the court and yourselves, could make sure that it's being used in the right way. So if you're serving on opposing counsel and you say public portal e-service, that person would get it to public portal e-service once they're a registered user. So that's, I think, another great thing for us. We're gonna have hiccups because in the beginning, we're gonna have some configuration stuff that maybe need to update, but for the most part, if you submit your stuff to the e-file help desk, any questions and issues that you're having to the e-file help desk, once we begin, then we should be able to iron those stuff out pretty quickly with the help of our staff. So that's it. If you have any questions, this would be the time. Or do we still attach proposed orders as Word version? Yes, that is a rule. So that is not in my discretion, but yes, you do still have to attach it as a proposed order in Word. And you have it does allow you to attach it in Word. Right. Okay, so seems like that was easy for us. We're gonna, again, if we send any notifications as a blast, because that's the only way we could do it as for everybody at once, is to send it to that e-file email address. So please pay attention from, maybe the coming weeks. We only have like 2 or 3 weeks left to do, all of our prep for go live. So if you see anything from that e-file email, please open it, please share it with your staff so that they know. And one of the things would be the form. I'm going to try to send that soon so that you have access to the form that you're going to upload in your user link requests. We are going to send information regarding when we're going to accept filings by email, which is that Superior Court e-file email, because of course e-file will be down. Our clerks won't have access to even enter stuff into the system until a certain time. So we are going to ask, put stuff out there as to either you're going to walk the filing in or you're going to send it to our Superior Court e-file email that we created during the COVID time. And then if we are able to let you go in to register before November 12th, then we would also send an email to that specific email address so that hey, you could go ahead and start, registering and doing whatever for your firm. So the e-file email address is gonna be, you're gonna see it a few times coming up before November. All right, so I think that is it. If nobody else has any questions, thank you very much for joining. Again, if your staff or any other staff that you don't know, if they weren't able to join, tomorrow's 10 o'clock session is basically a repeat of what I just did, and then 3 o'clock, it's the same thing. So thank you guys. Please share the word if somebody is not aware that we were doing a training or a demonstration. The videos will be there after and you could, look at it, but it's always good to be on the live demonstration. So thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend and stay dry.